again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Brown's Latest. I am Dave Grendzynski, but you can call me Grizzer if you like. I don't mind. And this is where we get you caught up on some of the latest news and the tidbits that are tied to our favorite team. Yes, despite everything that's happened, they are still our favorite team in the NFL. That is the Cleveland Browns, the elf. The elf on the wall should have told you that. Come on. Maybe the big helmet, the sign. I'm like the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz. But I can never get that right. I don't know why. You'd think I would have figured that out by now. But anyway, I digress. But here's the thing. Not only do we give you some news, but we also provide our opinions and our takes. I say ours because it's not just me, it's you. In the way of the viewer comments. And today is one of those shows, folks. There are just so many good comments. We have every topic today inspired by a viewer comment. And then we will have viewer comments in the viewer comments from the viewer comment section down there at the bottom of the show where we normally do the viewer comments. And so this show is all about you because we are going through this together, folks. And I appreciate it because misery loves company. But one of these days, we will be celebrating a lot. I don't know when, but soon. We will. But let's get on with it. Our first viewer-inspired topic has us looking at some new names who are already better options than our current head coach. One viewer wants a look behind the curtain, plus why I've never been more embarrassed to be a Browns fan. And then in the viewer comments, the actual viewer comments, Dillon Gabriel is up for an award for his performance against the Jets on Sunday? Holy mackerel. We got to find out what that's about. What is going on? But first things first, this is the viewer comment that inspired our first topick of the day. It's from Raymond Morris, 4387, who simply wrote, Kubiak. And that got me thinking, we need to look at the new list of coaches that are out there and could be potentials for us to replace Kevin Stefanski if and when, God willing, he is ever fired. But here's where we'll start. Now, let's become a hot topic too because the Giants just fired their coach. And so a lot of these names are starting up and there's some new ones on the list. But Belichick's name is coming up. You know why? I don't want Belichick here. Let me just say that. I'm going to say that this is I think he's too old. I would not want him to come here. I think his better days are behind him. He is what he is. But the only thing about that, to get him out of that North Carolina contract, it's $1 million buyout. Which is nothing in there when you're talking about this kind of thing. So that's why he could land on some coaching candidate list. I don't want him here, though. Steve Spagnuolo, though, there's somebody that's interesting. He's the Chiefs DC. Has some upside. They put together some good defenses, but his name keeps coming up. Jeff Hafley, the DC from Green Bay. Although, they didn't do enough to beat the Eagles the other day, but that's on the kicker. We've seen that before, right? So there's Jeff Hafley. Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator of Buffalo. We've talked about him before. That one, I don't have a problem with that one. That's for sure. He is, he's pretty good. So, there's Brady again at the top of this group. But Lincoln Riley, how about that? The University of Southern California. I don't know. He's had some success on the college ranks at Oklahoma. But you know me, I don't like the college guys. And yes, I'm talking about Ryan Day lately, but I'm not big. Ryan Day has pro experience. That's the difference. He's been in the pro game before. So that's why I like Ryan Day more than somebody like a Lincoln Riley. We talked about Robert Saleh. He's the DC at San Francisco. I don't know. I'm not really fond of the way he handled the Jet situation. So he's not big on my list. Not a huge Saleh fan. Jesse Minter, defensive coordinator with the Chargers. That is like a young and like that team is just just fun to watch, and they have just grown into something special, man. Especially with Herbert. They're pretty special. But there's three names now on this next screen that are most intriguing. Cliff Kingsbury, the OC with the Commanders. He's one of those guys who had his first gig in Arizona and then probably made all of his mistakes. And I would 100% bring him in here to be the head coach, for sure. And there is your guy right there, Raymond. Do you see him? Clint Kubiak. There he is. He's the offensive coordinator with the Seahawks. I mean, you see what he's doing with the offense. I mean, geez, oh man, Najigma. They can't even stop Smith and Najigma. Nobody can. It's ridiculous. They're 7-2, number 3 ranked scoring offense, number 9 overall in total yards. Sam Darnold, averaging almost 10 yards per pass attempt. Gosh. Can you imagine if you got him in here and then you were able to get Tate next year with Shador slinging it around the yard? And then if there was some way you could get Jeremiah Smith in here too the year after that. Man, and you already got Judkins and Sampson, and then you build that line. Look out. That would be fun to watch. I'm with you, Raymond. I hear you, man. I hear you screaming. And then Lane Kiffin, people are talking about him. I'm not. I think he's got a good thing going down there at Ole Miss. I wouldn't be surprised if LSU or somebody tries to get him. But Kingsbury and Kubiak, I'll get it. The K squares. I like the K squareds. I like alliteration. And I like those coaches. But in the short term, I still say I would get rid of Stefanski and make Schwartz the head coach. I've been saying that for weeks. The other guy that I would add to the list, if Schwartz wanted to take over and then he was able to bring somebody in here, because the defense is still playing pretty well. I mean, you can't really argue with how the defense has played all year. They just run out of gas because the offense doesn't do anything. But Ryan Day, too, we talked about him in the last couple of weeks. Like I said, I like his pro experience. And then, his ties to we can get all these Buckeyes to, up here, as many as possible. It's not a bad place to start. But there we go. Thank you, Raymond, for inspiring a new list of coaching candidates. But Kingsbury, for me, is still on. Kubiak's on it, man. Kubiak made this. He's on that list because of you, Raymond. I appreciate it. But that's where we're at. That's where we're at. Okay. Viewer comment inspired topic number 2 comes from @student Daryl Childress. Daryl, what are you doing in the viewer? Okay, I'm glad you're in the viewer comment, but you better have your homework done. That's all I'm saying. Student Daryl Childress. Appreciate it. But he says, I don't think they want to say we're tanking. And that is part of the problem. Because everybody keeps asking, what is going on behind the scenes? Because every time somebody does ask a question and somebody asks a point-blank question. Now, I see people in the comments will say, the Cleveland media letting them off the hook. They never follow up. But they are. And I've been trying to point that out the last couple of weeks. And so even this week, point-blank, I mean direct questions to him. Who called the play on who called that play on fourth and 1? Who ordered the code red? That's where we're at. Who ordered the code red, Kevin? Did you order the code red? You're darn right I did. That's all we're looking for, Kevin. Did you order the shotgun on 4th and 1 with the game on the line? But all we get are Stefanswers. We get, I understand the question, but I got to play better. We got to play better. We all got to play better. Everybody's got to play better. You got to play better. You got to play. Everybody. It turns into Oprah. You got to play better. You got to play better. Everybody's got to play better. That's all we get. So, from that to Barry's in hiding. Like we haven't seen him. He even passed on every year he does a bye-week press conference, passed on that. That guy's hiding under his couch somewhere for some reason. So we don't get anything from him. You got an owner who holds nobody accountable. Nobody ever gets fired, no matter how bad their situation is. See, Bubba Ventrone. It's always, we come out right after the game, after throwing for 167 yards. We're staying with Gabriel. But he threw to a ghost again. Did you see that? Oh, yeah, but don't you want to look at the tape? Don't you want to see the overthrows, the Corley, the overthrow to Jude? Do you want to see all the worm burners, the ghost receivers that we're throwing to? Do you want to look at any of that and see what's going on? Oh, no. We're going with Gabriel. No. Like, what does that even mean? Like, what, the quarterback week after week. Like, I do feel bad for Gabriel, but the Browns put him in this situation. Let's go back. How about this behind the curtain? How about this? Why did we take Gabriel in the third round? And then how about that? How about this? Just again, this week, and this is what I'm telling you, reporters are asking these questions. They may not have been doing it before, but they're asking him now. And he was point blank asked, hey, you said the height didn't show up on the tape in college. Do you think the height shows up on the tape now? After every week, we see at least one batted ball. We see overthrows because of the arm angle. All of it. He can't sit in the pocket. He can't see. We showed you the picture yesterday. He's in the pocket, and he can't see 4 wide open receivers and ends up taking a sack. Doesn't answer the question. Won't answer the question. We talked about that yesterday. We point blank. Haslam said, you said, we got to see both rookies. So what's the plan with Shedeur? When are we going to see him? I don't want to speculate. All of this is a major, major part of this problem. If you would just stop with the Stefanswers and give us some real answers. We got Pittsburgh out there signing Asante Samuel Jr., a guy that everybody knows. He's recovered from that spinal fusion surgery that he had, and here's what we're doing. These are the moves we're making. We waived somebody we never heard of, Trey Avery. We signed two people we've never heard of, 2 defensive ends to the practice squad, KJ Henry and Ochan Mathis. And then you released another guy nobody cares about or heard of, Simon Barrow Jr. We got nothing. We got nothing going on. Nothing. On a team that just keeps getting worse and worse every week. We don't find ways to make it better, including changing the quarterback, including firing the special teams coordinator, the special teams have been a problem, not just this year. It's been every year. What is going on behind the scenes? That is a major, major, major question. And thanks for bringing it up. But get me all riled up at student Daryl Childress. Now get in there and make sure your homework is done, young man. I'm telling you, your homework better be finished or you're going to go to bed without supper. No, you won't. But yeah, thanks I appreciate it. Now, your topic, student, brings us to this topic. Our third viewer comment inspired topic comes from Wolf of Gotham. Now, do you think he knows Batman? I hope he does, because I would love to meet Batman. That would be sweet. Robin, optional. Catwoman, for sure. But if you know Batman, Wolf of Gotham, please let me know. I would love to meet him. Okay, his comments, and this is like this has been tough to watch the last couple of days, and this is why I've never been more embarrassed to be a Browns fan. Wolf of Gotham says, I'm not even a Browns fan, but the Browns team is like a sitcom. I'm tuning in every day. And the reason is, like, everyone is clowning the Browns. I mean, there's cartoons everywhere now. You got kid podcasters ripping on the Browns and the quarterback situation. These guys that are, you got all these meme videos and all these memes of a teeny little Dillon out there trying to throw passes, and he's throwing them in the stands, or he's throwing them like 1 yard because that's all he can throw, and it's just everybody. You cannot turn on your phone or your laptop or even your desktop without seeing somebody clowning the Browns, man, and it's so embarrassing. And I just feel like, going back to student Daryl's point, if we would just provide some context with what is going on, man. When somebody asks you what's the plan for Shador and you don't answer, somebody asked him point blank. We talked about this yesterday. What about Deshaun? Are you going to activate him this week? I don't know. I'm not sure. Do we? I gotta. You remember, you're the head coach, right? Like, you're the guys who's in charge of all this, right? You know that, right? Why are you looking around? Why don't you know? Like, all of it, man, it is all so clownable. It's so easy. It's too easy. It is complete clown show at this point. And and it's embarrassing to be a fan. And then it's embarrassing when you believe in this team. Like, I believed in them last week and put them in my survivor pool because there was no way they were going to lose to the Jets. No way. They had no business losing to that team. And they go out there and find a way, giving up 2 special team scores. You can't make this stuff up. It really is like a sitcom. It is like it's like a skit or a Saturday Night Live that's scripted out every week. It's Sunday afternoon live. It's not Saturday Night Live. It's Sunday afternoon live with this team. Live from Cleveland. It's Sunday afternoon. Doot, doot, doot. That's what it is. At halftime, we got a musical guest. Like, that's what it is. Every freaking week. It's a clown show. So, but Wolf of Gotham, man, that was, you're right. It really is, man. It has turned into quite the, I mean, you call it a sitcom or you could call it a blank show. Take your pick. But it's really turned into something else, man. A season of promise has turned into, let's just get to Shador. That's the only thing that's going to save this season and keep it interesting and put and the only reason anybody's going to go down there is to watch Shador. That's it. That's going to be it. So, but one thing that never gets clowned, the viewer comments. And that dude, 923, says, this is what it looks like when there is no accountability. There's nothing that Kevin fears, so he'll do whatever he wants. And again, this goes back to the behind the scenes things. Like, are they tanking? Like, is that what's going on here? I've talked to people who worked for NFL teams who say players don't tank because they're playing for themselves. Remember, they're playing for themselves. But that's why I wonder, was that the whole plan all along? Was Gabriel, was he supposed to be the backup and Pickett supposed to be the starter? And then Pickett had the hammy? And then they just gave up on him so fast? Like, if you would just provide some clarity. But it does seem that way. It does seem like he's not worried about his job at all. Like Haslam said, doesn't matter. Dude, this reminds me of, although in TV it doesn't work out that way. I became the executive producer of a morning show, and this was a complete burn down, is what they tell you. They wanted me to come in and rebuild this morning show because we rebranded the whole thing, changed the whole thing. It was like a 180. And they said, we're not even going to look at the ratings for 5 years. We're not even going to look at anything, and we're doing all these things, building things, and we're building a show, and we're less than 2 years later, they blew it. Everybody they brought in to work on this show, they blew us all out and went back to what they were doing. Didn't even give it a chance. Not even 2 years. Blew us all out and went back to what they were doing before. The Browns do things like that. Could they have said, let's just take the worst possible quarterback we could pick in the 3rd round, and we'll go with that, and then we'll make it look like we care, but we actually don't because we really do want to lose. That's we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, man. That is the biggest. That is the Browns spitting in the faces of all of the fans, spitting right in our faces. That's what they're doing. Neil Gwynn, 7378. If no one gets fired at the end of this year, it tells you this was planned by the coaches and the owner, in my opinion. And Neil Gwynn, if that is the case, and I feel that yes, 100%, that is a total kick in the face to every single fan who supports this team. That to me is borderline criminal. It's like, I cannot believe that Ventrone still has his job. I can't believe it. It just doesn't make any sense. And you know what Stefanski's? He goes, well, we'll just move some guys around, and then we'll tackle better next week. That'll help. Restricts two X's. So you got to say restricts. I'm not on the Shador. Now, I think he makes a good point here. I'm not on the Shador is going to save everything train, but we have to know what we have in him, and we already know what we have in Dillon Gabriel, and it ain't good. We have to address the line in this year in the draft. Hopefully get Tate late in the first, but if we don't see what Shador has, where's that leave us taking another quarterback? Yes, we have to know what we have with Shador. And there's only one way to see it. We got to get him out there, get his feet wet. I've been saying for weeks he should have a package of plays every week. We should have already seen him. Every game he should come out there. Whether it's with, 10 yards and in or short yardage or something. Can you imagine that if he comes out there on that fourth and 1 the other day and you put him in that pistol? I would never do that. I'm not a fan of it. I'm a fan of just put Judkins in there and run it down, ram it down their throat for a yard. That's it. I don't like running 50. I don't like running wide when you got short yardage, 4th and short, 3rd and short. Like I'm not a fan of that, man. I don't want running wide. I don't want to run wide. I don't, throwing the ball depends on the situation. 99% of the time, I'm like, just pound it down their throat, pound it in there and get that yard. But no, there's, and I feel like he's got to get 6 or 7 games, preferably 7. We got to get Gabriel out as fast as possible. But we got to know, and that is why the Browns aren't trading Shador. But what doesn't make any sense to me is the season is now lost. So just come out and tell us when we're going to see Shador. This point blank asked the other day, what's the plan with Shador? I don't want to speculate. Unbelievable. It just drives us all crazy. But you're right. You are absolutely right. Restricts. Now, it rhymes with restricts. D. Hicks, 59, says Baltimore is about to have a field day with Dillon. And I can't disagree with that because they are running on all cylinders right now. They got Lamar back, and they are just looking like the playoff team everybody thought they were going to be and Super Bowl contender. And did you hear that their rookie linebacker, Teddy Buchanan, came out the other day and said, we are going to win the AFC North. We are going to complete the comeback, and we are going to win the AFC North. And after what, Pittsburgh's come unglued. Yeah, they got Samuel. Their defense is brutal. Their defense is so bad, Pittsburgh's defense, which I tried to tell you that before the year, and I tried to tell you we'd have a chance to beat them. But with Furley, we don't have an offense. So when you have an offense, even if you're going up against a team with no defense, you're not going to score points. And then, so the Ravens now are 4-5. They're 1 game behind Pittsburgh at 5-4 in the division. We're last, of course. The Bengals 3-6. But did you see, though, the one thing we can hang our hat on, even though we're last in the division, our quarterback was nominated for Rookie of the Week. How about that? You go 17 for 32, 167 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he didn't have any picks, but, it's not terrible. But PFF grade, 63.5. So not good. And when I saw that, I thought, were all the other rookies out this week? Was he the only rookie that played? How does that happen? Rookie of the week? The numbers must be low for Rookie of the Week candidates this week. It's unbelievable. Or somebody paid somebody. I don't know. But you're right. I think Baltimore, this is the worst possible time to be playing Baltimore. Even though we get them at home. Oh boy. This could be. Hopefully the defense balls out. If the defense plays like it did against Miami and maybe get you a score or two, you might have a chance. But we're gonna rely heavily on the defense and controlling Jackson and keeping him under wraps and the rest of it. So, and we will end today with Javante Delvon 00, who says, "Let's call Wednesday. Get over the hump Wednesdays." I like it. That's what we're doing. It is. Wednesday is hump day, but I like alliteration. So we need Windmill Wednesday. What gets us over something that begins with a W? Wishful Wednesday, because we're wishing for a win come Sunday, something like that. But I like where you're going with that, Javante. I appreciate it. Javante Delvon 00. All right. Got to get ready for these Ravens. I'll start digging into them. I'll find a way for us to beat the Ravens. I promise. I promise. You know why? I've had more time now because I don't have to spend it on my survivor pool because I had the Browns last week. I'm out, so I got some extra time. I will dig into the Ravens, and I will figure out how we can beat Baltimore at home on Sunday. All right, go Browns! We'll see you next time.